Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I hope you are all doing well. A little disclaimer right away, it is super hot over here. We are in the middle of a heat wave. Yesterday it was 35 degrees Celsius, which is 95 Fahrenheit. It's super hot. I don't have an AC, so I'm just chilling in front of my fan, and the fan is on in the background, so I apologize if you can hear some fan noises. I try to edit them out, but I just can't. Like, it was so hot yesterday already. I'm doing my best here, and I mean, it's going to be better next week. I'm also sorry that I didn't upload for almost a week. I was working on some other fun things that you will see soon. So it's just hot and I'm sitting in front of a fan and I'm sorry. I placed it strategically so it's not too loud, but yeah, I'm sorry. So let's talk about this build. So I wanted to build a houseboat initially. Like, this was my plan. I thought, okay, I'm going to build a houseboat. I was sitting in front of my fan. It was hot and I thought, houseboat time. When I can't chill in a pool, at least I'm going to work on a houseboat in Solani, I thought. But this plan didn't come to fruition because I want to be honest, this isn't a houseboat. It's a floating house. It's cute, but it's not a houseboat. I might build a houseboat on another day, but this is just some type of floating house or mansion. And whatever I tried to do, it just didn't start to look like a boat, which is fine. So it's just a floating house, or I don't know. And I incorporated lots of round shapes as always. And at first I started to build this on another lot in Solani, actually, a non-waterfront lot, but then I thought, okay, this doesn't make a lot of sense because I wanted to use these ladders that you can use to go into the ocean, and you can't use them for pools. But the way that I tried to build this, I needed these ladders badly, and you just can't use them. I don't even think that you can use some type of cheat for this. It's just not working. So I bulldozed the whole thing and started over on this lot here. I don't even know what lot size this is, but it's not super big. And I started off by building a room in the water, essentially. And then I built a floor piece on top. I deleted the room below, and then I had a floating floor piece. And then you can click on the arrow to move it down. I do this all the time to build bridges, just different things. And this way you just have a floating floor piece above the water. Looking back, this might have been the point where it already stopped looking like a boat, maybe, because it would have probably made sense to use a foundation below or something with a nice trim so it looks like, I don't know, some type of boat, but it's just floating, like literally floating, like floating in the air almost above the water surface. So yeah, this was probably the first mistake, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm going to build a houseboat on another day, as I said. So I had my floor piece on the ground, and then I wanted to lay out a round shape, which was kind of the main shape. I knew that I would like to add something in the back later on, but I just wanted to have a round shape that I can work with. So what I did was I just placed a base game rock on my floor, which is what I like to do all the time to have a guideline. And then I used lots of pristine pedestals from Get Famous, and I placed them all around my rock. I used the tool mod to make my life a bit easier. I was a bit lazy, it was hard, I didn't feel like placing all these pristine pedestals. But initially, as you saw, I just placed each individual pristine pedestal, and for this you just press Alt on your keyboard and your left mouse button, and then you can rotate objects freely. And I placed some of them, I rotated them, and once I had created some type of curve, I selected them using tool and duplicated them just to be done quicker, kind of. So this is just something that saves you time, but you don't have to do this. And also, as always, a little disclaimer for the tool mod: you don't need the mod to grab this build from the gallery. It's unmodded and CC free. So here I just used the tool mod to rotate a couple of windows. I used the windows from Eco Lifestyle, I think, and I wanted to create this round curve, as I said. So this build for me is all about round shapes. I rotated some windows, and then I placed more pristine pedestals down there, and I used tool to change the position a bit. And also in the center there's like another pool, as you saw, I used the same method that I used for the round shape, for the main round shape. I placed another rug in the center, and then I used the pristine pedestals to once again have some type of outline around my rug, and then I used the room tool to delete my platform, and this way I simply have a hole in the center. I was able to attach this ladder from Island Living, and this is fully play tested. Your Sims actually use the ladder and they can go down there. There were also some areas which weren't like quite perfect, and for this I used an object from Get Together. It's some type of rug supposed to be placed in a pool, and I used it in front of the pool in the center just to hide some gaps and stuff. It's amazing. It doesn't block your Sims path, it just acts like any other rug, and it's perfect for stuff like this, and it's just such a versatile, amazing object in my opinion. And then I just finished the whole window area. I placed more pristine pedestals on top. It was the same process essentially. Then I used some planting pots from City Living, from the debug menu. I used some debug palm trees. I think they are part of the base game. And for the lounge chairs, I used the Dream Home Decorator pack. And at this point, I was almost done with the main shape for this build. It's really simple, and you can already see the inside here. Like you see this triangular room, and this is it. This is like legit just the whole build. It's a tiny build, like at least for my standards. I know that there are way smaller builds out there, but I really had to make this work. I had to playtest this a lot, and a lot of stuff wasn't working initially, and I had to move stuff around and just find the correct position. So I guess that's pretty tiny. Like usually I just have huge rooms, I place my stuff and it works, but I really had to make sure that this is working because there isn't a lot of space in there. So if you're excited for a tiny build or a smaller build, at least I hope that you will enjoy this when I furnish this. The bathroom especially was like a real challenge. I built this, it looked stunning, and then I had to move around all objects, but only like a tiny little bit, and I didn't record this because I was just playtesting, but I really had to move different objects around just a tiny little bit to make it work. And here I'm using the same object from Get Together on the roof just to fill in some gaps, just to make the roof look pretty. It does look a bit weird at night though, I have to admit. I noticed this while playtesting. And also, I was so bothered by the platforms when building this. I mean, we all know that they like need an update. There are some bugs. But here it was so bad. Whenever I wanted to close a room and build something, the platform would just be raised and jump up and destroy my whole build almost, especially because of other pristine pedestals. This was like really, really exhausting. Also, you have to place this lot on the correct lot, like in Solani. Whenever you are using objects like the pristine pedestal, stuff like this, whenever you are placing an object on a waterfront lot, when it's not the correct lot the build was built on, some of the stuff is going to be like floating in the air and stuff. When I upload this to the gallery, I'm going to add this to the gallery description, so please check the gallery description so you will see which lot is the correct one, because I don't know what this lot is called right now, so I'm going to add this to the description for you. So if you want to play in this, you can do this. And I also had such a hard time placing the stairs. Like, this is such a small build. It didn't even take long to build, to be honest, but the whole furnishing process and just different details just took so long. Like, I had to change so many things, and I don't know, like this was such a challenge, even though such a small build. You see how I built the stairs here. Initially I wanted them to be L-shaped, and I created the L-shaped stairs, and then I built the rim around it, and then it wouldn't work, and I don't know. There were like so many little things that just wouldn't work out for some reason. And here I'm adding more pristine pedestals to the roof and also some lounge chairs from the Dream Home Decorator pack. I wanted the roof to be functional. This is why I added the stairs in the first place. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be necessary, because the whole living area, bedroom, kitchen, living room, like the whole house is just this tiny area down there. So it's like a bungalow essentially. It's all one room, and the bathroom is of course the only exception. So it's like a place for just one sim or two sims, for a single sim. I think it's really cute if you are looking for a really small space. This is definitely not a family home. There are no additional bedrooms, so there's just one bed in the whole house. But I mean, it makes sense. It's supposed to be small or tiny, so it's just not a family home. I then just made sure that everything is looking good. I added the dog. I added some debug objects from cats and dogs to make it look like a dog. As I said, at first I wanted this to be some type of houseboat, and it was kind of tricky to really turn this into something that makes sense. And I figured a dog, even though it's not a boat at this point, makes sense still, because I think it looks super cute and more tropical. I then changed this area. At first I had used the Stony Goodness slab from Spa Day, but then I wanted to have some type of glass roof. So I used more pristine pedestals, as you saw, and then I placed the glass roof in the center. I placed the glass roof on the level above because otherwise there would be a weird hole in the ceiling below. And I then used the tumor to raise all these pristine pedestals because I wanted a small gap between the ceiling below and all my pristine pedestals. This is supposed to be some type of really fancy roof area. This doesn't serve any purpose. It's just a fancy roof, and that's it. I also added some debug columns around this area from the base game. These are also just decorative, and this area gave me such a hard time when I was playtesting because something was always blocking my Sims path. I have these columns down there and also all these pristine pedestals, so I had to make a bit of space and change a couple of things just slightly. You don't really see it, but I really had to make it work. I then started to work on the interior. I have my stairs there, and I built a room around my stairs because otherwise the room at the bottom would be open and the light would be weird. So this way I separated the stairs from the inside. I then built this tiny room, which is going to be the bathroom, and as I've already mentioned, this room is going to give me a lot of trouble later, but I had so much fun building it, and I was really able to leave it this way. I just had to move around some objects like a tiny little bit and make some adjustments, but I left it almost exactly the way it is here. I think I had to change the position of the toilet a bit, but it looks exactly like this. And I love the furniture from Dream Home Decorator so much, but this modular furniture is just perfect for bathrooms as well. I also used a room divider from the Moschino stuff pack just to have some type of divider because I knew that I would like to have a shower in this corner. Whenever you are running out of space when you are building tiny bathrooms, this shower is just perfect from Discover University. There's also one from Snowy Escape. I just think it's perfect for rooms like this. And I mean, it's not even that tiny, but I wanted to squeeze in so many different things, including some furniture from the Dream Home Decorator pack, including a bathtub that I was really running out of space, and it's like really tight, but it's all functional. And I'm really proud of that because I always have such a hard time building smaller rooms. I also wanted to add this rug, as you just saw, but this wasn't working because it was kind of below the one that I had already placed in the shower, and I really had to move the bathtub into the wall kind of. And I learned so many tricks from Simarchy, aka Steph. She's just amazing. She streams on Twitch, she also uploads to YouTube, and she's just the best. And she created, I think it was a 2-tile bathroom, or even 1 tile. I don't even remember. This was right before Tiny Living came out, and this was such a huge inspiration. Like, this room is so inspiring, and I learned from her that you can really move stuff around and that you just have to find the correct position. You really have to play test and move objects into the wall 8-bit so it still looks good. Of course, you need the move objects sheet for this, but when you do this, you can really make it work even when you don't have lots of space. And I mean, this isn't tiny. I'm going to say it again because I know a lot of you will be like, this is not proper tiny, and I know this, but I still had a hard time finishing this. I feel like this is like a specific skill when you are like really good at building tiny houses, and I always try to challenge myself, and I felt like the bathroom at least really challenged me. I also added this shelf from Dream Home Decorator into my counter. I'm going to change this later because at some point I realized that I have to add a desk, and I think I then removed it and I just moved the computer to the island counter because the Sims weren't able to walk like into the bedroom area that I'm going to build, so it was kind of blocking the Sims, so I had to change a couple of things. As I said, I added a dining table, just one table and 2 chairs, and that's it. A bit of decorating here and there, like this table and just the painting on the wall. There isn't a lot of space, so I just had to make it work somehow. And this area here will be the bedroom. I also had to make a couple of changes because at first my Sim wasn't able to walk into the kitchen, and then they couldn't use the closet, so I had to make a couple of changes, but it also worked perfectly fine after all, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's so cute, and it's also really neutral and modern. It's not really tropical on the inside. I really just stayed within this dream home decorator theme. I feel like I love this. I know a lot of people said it reminds them of IKEA, and in a way it does, but I don't know, Tiny Living really gave me IKEA vibes because of the whole hygge Scandinavian theme. But this, I don't know, I didn't even really think of IKEA. I think, but it's really like modern or contemporary, like regular furniture almost everyone enjoys. I think that's why it reminds people of IKEA. It's just the stuff that you can see when you go into probably almost any furniture store when you're looking for some more modern stuff. It just looks so good. I just love this. This is the living room. Really small. It's more of a living room nook. I sat on this table, so it just was too big, and I placed the TV on the table. I also play tested this corner, and it was working perfectly fine. I was really proud of that. I was afraid that the Sims wouldn't be able to sit there or watch TV, but it's working perfectly fine. So, I mean, this house really has everything your Sims need, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of space. I don't know. Yeah, this is the desk that I mentioned, but I had to change this completely. This wasn't working out, unfortunately. So I'm just going to move this laptop to the island counter, and I'm going to get rid of it. And the same goes for this decorative plant that you can see at the corner. I also had to get rid of this. Just some minor changes eventually, but all in all, it worked out, and I hope that you liked how this build turned out. I'm really sorry for some fan noises, and if I sound a bit exhausted, the heat is like really getting to me, like really physically and mentally. It's too much right now. I just can't wait for the weather to be a bit better. I'm also excited to upload the next part of the Let's Play soon, and I can't wait to work hard on lots of builds for you. As I mentioned, I've been working on stuff that I don't talk about now, but I have been working on some exciting things, and I'm just really excited to build for you, and I hope that you enjoyed this build. I hope you are doing well, and now it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons. Thank you so much to Brunier Wilcox, Britta1607, Delilah Darkmoor, Jennifer Lewis, Callan Renee, Molly, Quinn Uring, Shanna McClam, Telena Lynn, Tamika Mitchell, and Victoria Smithies. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to all my other Patreons. Thank you to anyone who watches this. Thank you for your support. I love you all. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye bye!